All right, so the recording has started now. I just want to let you know we have some really good upcoming sessions here. So we do not have sessions for the next couple of weeks because of breaks. But January 6th, we have Jody Stacken talking about switch use and augmentative and alternative communication options in distance learning. She works in a multi-categorical setting 3 room, so that will be a great one to go to. January 13th, Sherry Walker is going to talk about Book Creator. That is a product made by CAST, who are the people who do all the universal design for learning stuff. And she uses that for reading and writing. It's a great tool. Then on January 20th, Laura, who's here today, is going to share with us the SOLS program, the STAR online curriculum system, and how she's using that with her DCT students. So that's another great one that you'll definitely want to come to. I should say that about all of them. January 27th, Stephanie Jasperson-Agonis is going to talk about EPIC reading and then Explode the Code reading and writing curriculum. So that's the end of January. And then February 3rd, we just booked with Stacia to do boom cards. So I know a lot of people have been using boom cards, so that'll be on February 3rd. So watch for registration for those sessions coming up. Whenever we do adult learning, we want to be thinking about why we're here. And we started doing office hours just to make sure that we were going to share resources across the region. We made this start happening when distance learning started happening, and we knew that we needed to share resources so that we weren't reinventing the wheel every time we were trying to do something. So that's our why for why we did this. So just kind of keep in mind your why for why you're here. Whenever we're thinking about assistive technology, we think through the SET framework, and that's the student, all of their strengths, things that they want to do, their needs, and then we think about the environments that they're in. Then the tasks that we're hoping that they can do more fully or more independently, and then we overlay the tools on top of that to see which tools might support those tasks. We always look through a lens of equity just to make sure that we're getting every student exactly what it is that they need. This is where I usually would introduce our guest, but since we are having open office hours today, I put a list of possible topics, which were just things that came from the registration form. So this is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination, but they are just some things that people wanted to learn about. Jamboard, someone had asked about reading to pets. Seesaw for setting 3, low tech for physical impairments and distance learning activities. And then people had said that there were things that they were willing to share too, things like Jamboards, boom cards, cap schedule, and Cami. So there are some options there of things that people wanted to learn about or are willing to share, but we'll kind of keep this pretty informal. So basically, if you have a question, comment, or something to share, you can unmute yourself, put something in the chat window, whatever you're comfortable doing. And just know too that there's always an option to do breakout rooms. So if you wanted to have a breakout room, you would just let me know and I can make a breakout room and move any of you to that breakout room. This main room, Greg, I just saw your question, will continue to be recorded. But if you wanted to go into a breakout room, that would be separate and would not be recorded. All right, so let me start by opening it up if there are any questions. If anyone wanted to mine the knowledge that's in this room right now, are there any questions or things that people wanted some recommendations about? How's that good teacher wait time? I have some things that I'm happy to share out, but oh, Laura, go ahead. I see you unmuted yourself.
Yep, I was just, I just started using Seesaw for my DCDSP kids, and I see that someone else is using it in setting 3, and I wondered if they could just give us a little, just a quick little, how do you do it, and how's it working, and anything you want to share about that?
Great. So is there anyone here today who has had some experience using Seesaw in setting 3?
I haven't, but I would love
See
to know
Jody.
too.
Great, thanks. I see Jody.
But Jody's using it with her DCD kids. But I don't know if she bumped
Sorry.
here for a minute, so I don't know if she's coming back.
I'm here. So I don't know. We do use it, but I guess I'm curious to know what you're asking, because how we use it is basically putting on activities at their level. Seesaw is only if, for our level 3 students, I feel that Seesaw is only if there is an adult present with them, because there is a lot of direction and manipulating with the mouse and tools like that, unless they have like a touch screen computer, then they can use a stylus and that kind of stuff. So it just depends on the activities that you actually post. So what I post on mine are usually a story, like a story is being read, and then I would have like an activity that's attached to that story for them to do, like sorting some shapes or answering some questions. So, I mean, can you be more specific on what you're looking for, or how, I mean?
So I guess, are you assigning things to different students based on their IEP goals? How many things do you assign a day or a week?
Okay, yeah. So yes, so my Seesaws are specifically to those students. So for instance, if you have students that are still learning, like we had the letter K this week, then I would have letter K activities being put on Seesaw. And so then the snippet tool has been really successful for me. So if you have a worksheet, which we don't like worksheets, but if you have a worksheet, you can actually cut apart that worksheet, and then the students can actually maneuver and manipulate the sorting of the big K and the little K. They can color, they can circle, whatever direction that you are giving them. I have a student right now that will self-record herself, either audio or video, and retell a story that she's listened to. So there's a lot of fun tools on Seesaw that would give you back data on how they're interacting in Seesaw. But the only big thing I don't like about it is that we don't know on the outside of who is helping that student. So we don't know exactly if that work was done by the student or was it done with the adults. So that's where I've kind of gone more to Jamboard, just because I can see them interacting with me. However, I just was on a Google Meet last night, and one of our paras in our district says that she Google Meets with her preschool students, and they're able to share their screen when they're in Seesaw. So then she's able to actually see her students interacting through that way. So there's a lot of different avenues and paths that you can go down, but does that help?
It does. I'm just sharing a screen is a great idea. I didn't really think about that, because I had that same thought that, how do I even know these kids are doing it? And I have a parent who is known for just, let's do your work. Okay, I did your work.
Yeah.
Something I did, and I just, like I said, I've just started getting into it and kind of understanding a little more, but I just did some assessments today with my students on our individual meetings. And I just pulled up Seesaw, like my account, and went into, I had posted some things about, letter recognition and number recognition. And on our meeting, I was manipulating the mouse, but it worked really well to have those, just not have them do it on their own, and I could see them from the Zoom that we used. And I was able to, like, as they did their letters, I'd put a little dot next to them if they got it right, or kind of stuff like that. So that was one of my things, is how am I going to do this and make sure it's them doing it? But them sharing their screen is a pretty sweet idea.
Another and that's where I came across with the whole Jamboard and creating all of those Jamboard activities, because that's automatically saved. So when you end your Google Meet, you can go back and retrieve all the data, and then you can redo that Jamboard for the next student. So that's kind of one thing. I mean, the only thing with the Jamboard is that you've got to make sure that you don't have those tech savvy students that can, because you can't lock a lot of your screens. And so you have to have your locked, well, your quote unquote locked screen under a text box. And so then that's just kind of a learning curve from all of us to say, oh, hands off. We need to only do, you know, this area, that kind of thing. So, but.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not familiar with Jamboards. I feel like I've heard of them and heard they might be good, but anybody else use those? Or just have one they can share to the screen and just show us what it looks like?
Can I just add one more thing about Seesaw?
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because I was here last week and we talked about Jamboard, but now when I went to try and do it myself, I forgot a lot. So hopefully we'll go that direction again. But about Seesaw, another really neat thing about it, I use it, that's my sole way of putting out material for my kids. But another really thing about it is it has a whole community library. So you can, for all sorts of all the subjects. So you can go in there for social, emotional, for reading, for math, whatever, and pick your grade level. And I have second graders, but they're more so working at a kindergarten level. So I'll pick kindergarten, and then it throws out a ton of activities for you. So and then you can edit it yourself and make it your own, and then save it to your own library. You can also upload links to it. I've uploaded a lot of stories from books and from YouTube, and then you can post those on Seesaw too. And I just learned about the screen sharing thing too. So now I can split my screen and I can see the kids on one side and what I'm presenting on the other side. So I love it. It's really pretty user friendly because I'm not very techy.
Anne always says that about herself, but I don't think it's true. She's doing some really cool
Maybe for an old lady, not too bad, but when I talk to our young teachers and they have to walk me through things like it's the back of their hand, and I'm like, wait, let me write that down. But I really do like Seesaw. You can also just post messages to the kids on there and everything, because I assume a lot of my kids are doing it independently without a parent around a lot of times now during distance learning. So all of my instructions are audio. So they really can just click on the arrow and listen to my audio instructions for what to do. They don't have to be able to read. So I like it a lot.
Cool. And Jody said, I just was chatting in the chat window with her. Jody said she'd be willing to screen share a Jamboard. But just a reminder that if any of you would like to start or have me start you in a breakout room to have a separate discussion, more than willing to have you break off in to talk about other topics. Just let me know. But otherwise, Jody, if you want to go ahead and screen share, that'd be great.
Okay, here it comes. So this is what I was saying earlier, is that it's just a worksheet that you were able to cut apart. And so then students would have to say, can you show me uppercase M? And then they would move it over like this. This is where I was saying that you can't lock the screen. So if you see my text box right here around it, that is actually, this part is making it locked. So if the students don't know that it's there, then they're not going to be able to say, hey, I can move these gumball machines around. But now all of these gumballs are actually on top of that text box, so that means that they can maneuver and manipulate the items. So once you're in a Google Meet, it's pretty easy to share a Jamboard. You would actually go down into the 3 little dots in the right-hand corner, and whoever is in that Google Meet has access to this Jamboard when you share it through that Google Meet. And then you have to give them edit rights if you want them to maneuver and move the things around. Now, this is a learning moment. If you have a student that's not following directions, you can not give them edit rights and let them say, you're just going to watch our activity today. So that's a Jamboard.
Can we try it like we just talked about? Could you share it with us? Could we play with it?
I think so. Let's see. Can I do that even that I'm presenting? I'll stop presenting, or?
You should be able to do it even if you're presenting, Jody, if you just go kind of just like you would share it with a student, but otherwise you can stop presenting too if you find that that's not working.
And I could be wrong on this. If you click the share button, all of our names should pop up on that. I could be wrong, but.
Yeah, you can do it that way, but what we're finding with the whole share thing is, I'm still learning, but yeah, I just go down in the 3 dots just because it's a lot easier when we're in a Google Meet. But so I will go ahead and.
So when you originally put that on the made your own Jamboard, did you take pictures of the gumball machines and the gumballs and then upload them on there, or how did it originate?
So I had to snip. Yep, I had to snip apart my worksheet.
And then you just took pictures of the pieces?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone, I see Leanne just joined. Everyone that is in this Google Meet is able to play with the gumballs.
Is there like a place where you can find these, like the community Seesaw activities that are already created, or is this kind of like you create what you want to use?
Yeah, you create what you want. I don't know if there's a community. That's a good question, but I know that once you create something, you can share it with whoever, and then they can make a copy of it, because if they don't make a copy, the owner. This is what we were finding, is that when I shared something, another coworker wanted to use it, and then they couldn't share it to their students because I owned it. So if you share it to a coworker, then they need to make a copy of it. So then they own it, and then you're able to share it. But as far as having a community of things, I'm not aware of it, but that would be that's a good question.
So did you change something? Because I don't have it on my screen anymore.
I can still see
playing with
mine.
it still. I'm sorry.
And there's a link in the chat window. Did you click on the link in the chat window, Anne, to go to the Jamboard? So Jody's not screen sharing it anymore, but you could go to.
Gotcha.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot to tell you to go in the chat board for the link.
Yeah, that's super cool. I was able to draw on it and all kinds of things. That is outstanding.
Yeah.
But you put individual pictures of all those things to upload them. That's outstanding.
Well, it's not very, it's just clipping everything out.
This
I
is
just
Terry.
wondered-
It's been nice for letter tracing, because I can model for the student if they're having trouble, and then they can follow my model. So I feel like I'm kind of with them and actually teaching them.
Yeah, that was fun, Terry, that day.
It was.
Just one.
Oh, sorry. After last week when we talked about it, I like the Post-it note option too. I made some Post-it notes of our sight words we're working on this week. And so that was really cool to just have that option of the Post-it notes to be able to quickly type on and move them around. So that was helpful. That was a neat option too.
Just a quick thought, to save on the implementation, if you just took a picture of the entire worksheet, I was wondering if you could take screenshots of each section, like that might be a really fast way to speed that process up. Something to think about. I could talk to you later if you wanted to play around with that.
That'd be cool.
I'm noticing that there's some things that you can buy on Teachers Pay Teachers that have Jamboard templates, and then some different like games and syllable sorts and things like that. Of course, it costs money, but it's just an option too.
Awesome. And we're talking about making a regional share file too, so that people could save things in there. It does have the potential to get real messy because like Jody was saying, even when people make copies, then, you end up possibly changing other people's things if you don't make a copy every time. Sorry, I haven't been great about monitoring people's hands up. I did see that Shannon just had her hand up, and I see your hand up too. So, Anne just put her hand down. So
Sorry, that
Shannon,
was earlier. I didn't realize I didn't put it back down.
I just had a quick question for Jody. So when you made that Jamboard and you shared it with us, did you have to copy and paste the link into the chat, or was it automatically pushed in there?
It automatically gets pushed in.
Oh, nice.
So, and I don't know who the gentleman was saying about the share button, but I just try to keep it in one area for myself. So it's just a lot easier for me just to share it through your Google Meet. Because when we were in our special ed meeting this morning, she says that she shares it out to her students prior to the meeting. And then you get students playing with it before your meeting, and it's all jumbled up. So yeah, I just share it when we actually present. And then the other thing too, like I said, I'm not a guru, and this is something that I would like to talk to Sherry about too, is that if you have a student or a person that comes in late to your Google Meet, I found that they cannot access the Jamboard. Anyone else know why or how to do that? Because I tried to share them as well, but they don't have access to it. So then I had to share my screen.
I think that when people join, you have to repost the link, because people who come late, like they don't get to see it if they come late. You have to, because I know I was listening to my daughter's class, she's in 2nd grade, and that they were looking at a book, and the teacher said, "Oh, hi, so-and-so, let me reshare that link so you can get onto the book with us." So I don't think it's a Jamboard thing. I think it's like a link thing. Like you can't see past links. You can only see links that are posted when you're present in the meet, I think.
Okay, so I have to resend the link.
Yeah, you would just like copy the link and paste it in the chat again, so that student who just got in the link or in the meet could see it.
Okay.
And Shannon just put in the chat too that it's in the lower left corner in the attachments. You can attach it in Meet. It'll show up there. Remember how I showed where you could get the slides before, when you click kind of by the name of the thing, but then it's in the attachments in that lower left-hand corner. So there's another option for being able to look at it once it's shared out. And Greg, I see your hand up.
If you want, I could take 2 minutes to show that screenshot. I think, Jody, you'd be able to use it immediately as a possibility. But if we have 2 minutes, that's my question for you. All right, so I'm going to share my screen if I can. Is that all right? Let's see. So I just added a screenshot to it, a section of the screenshot. Well, how do I do this here? I'm going to do the whole window. Sorry. I'm trying to share my screen. Let me just make sure I share it. Sorry. A window. There we go. Okay. So this one, it worked out pretty slick where tell me when you can see it. But I'm sharing the screen that you're sharing, the Jamboard. So I just went in and took a screenshot of a section of it and uploaded it. So basically on my Chromebook, every device has a way to do a section of a screenshot. So I'm doing Control-Shift and then a little picture of the window. And then if I want to take just a screenshot of this area, like this was a part of the worksheet, I click that. And then I think if it was on yours, you could probably copy clipboard and paste it right in there, I'm guessing. But let me see. But I was able to upload it really quick. So then I can just take and go here, browse and upload it, and it'll just throw it in there. So do you see how that would save? You take one picture of your worksheet, and then you could basically cut it apart using screenshots instead of having to upload everything. So then I just do that, and then it puts it in there. So that's one option to save some time potentially. Does that make sense?
I have a question for you. Okay, so I'm looking at my screen. I've been trying to do this lately and I can't figure this out. How did you do your screen so that, I mean, I can see the people still, but I can also see what you're sharing? How do you do a split screen like that?
I just shared when you have the option, I have the option of just a window or just a tab or entire screen. So I shared just the tab is what I just did now, but I probably could have done it with just a window probably too. So when you have two windows up in your split screen, you can choose just the window and then you could flip between different tabs in that window.
So did you have to
synchronously just
split your screen first, or when you just clicked on tab, did it just automatically come up like this?
I just selected tab. I do have my screen split, but so I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, I'd play around with that one.
That must be a window share, Greg, because we can see the tab bit at the top.
Oh, okay, that must be why. So it must be a win. I think I did select window, so you can see this new one here. I just pulled up. Okay, so that was a window share. Sorry, yes, that was a window share.
Okay. I tried that with my kids this morning. I selected the window, and it still came up on their whole screen and on my whole screen. I can't figure that out. Oh well, thanks.
Yep.
Are you splitting your screen and pulling that tab over so that you're picking that window, or are you sharing your screen, that the only solo screen you're on?
How do I split my screen?
So you minimize your Google Meet and use your cursor and so that it's vertical, and like you're basically shrinking your Google Meet, and then you pull over from your top bar, you pull over what you want to share. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So I do the minimize for my Google Meet, and then go from what I have open on my top bar and pull that into my window when I open a window.
Yep. So now you should see what you want to present and your Google Meet at the same time.
Okay, I gotta write that down. Okay.
And then you present, and then that's what Greg was saying. Then you present the window that you want to present. I think it's the middle one, right, Greg?
Yeah, I played around with it. I think if you just play it enough times, like I say, I don't even know what I selected, but yeah, so there's three options: your entire screen, a window, or a tab. And the key is just understanding those terms, like what is a window, what is a tab, because you have to have two windows open in order to share a different window. Does that make sense?
Julie just shared an awesome YouTube. I think that's what we kind of learned on that from that too.
Yeah, just a quick one as to how to split your screens and then share out and still see your participants. I want to be conscious of the fact that it is 12:30. We definitely can stick around and continue talking. I am going to stop the recording now.